Hi, everyone. I'm Tucci, founder of Coaching with Heart and Purpose and Light Conversations. And I am absolutely thrilled to have the most fabulous guest today, Lalaine Moreira. Have I pronounced that correctly? And I am, yeah, so thrilled to have her. And just want to give you a little bit about background about my special guest. Lalaine is the CEO and Chief Energetic Officer. I absolutely love that. I'm going to have to steal that from you, Lalaine. At Pendulum Lightworks, formerly More to Living Consultancy, based in Orange County, California. Lalaine is an energy healer, spiritual advisor, and motivational accountability partner, and is claircognizant. So that means she's got the gift of clear knowing, as well as a contributor and speaker for the amazing platform Awoken TV, which is a video on demand subscription network, kind of like a Netflix for woo. Think of Gaia meets Mindvalley somewhere near Area 5. Area 51, isn't it? Sorry. Since the early 2000s, Lalaine has been actively transforming people's lives by successfully coaching and facilitating self-growth. As a spouse, a parent, and former long-time Fortune 100 corporate professional, that was a bit of a mouthful, she also understands the familiar stress trappings of life. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by life's demands, Lalaine's services aim to introduce clarity and self-motivation. She also teaches techniques to better manage the emotional stress of everyday life. Within her practice, Lalaine uses tuning forks and magnetic energy to help release trapped emotions, which we'll definitely talk more about later. Her business also offers services that are available as individual, partner, and groups sessions. These include heart coherence, meditation, energy block clearing, chakra balancing, plant medicine therapy. Stay tuned until the end as Lalaine will lead us into a beautiful heart coherence meditation. Welcome to Light Conversations, Lalaine. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. And I just feel so emotional, good emotions. I feel so blessed and grateful to be here. And Tucci, thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you so much for opening your heart. And thank you so much for sharing space at the table. So it is my honor and a blessing to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. This is amazing. I know this is going to be such an amazing conversation because you do some really awesome stuff, Lalaine, don't you? Um, so before we dive into the work that you do at the moment, I would like to just go, if you don't mind, delve into a little bit about your background. On your website, I know you describe your childhood as being a bit rough and raw, but that it led you to your discovery and realization of the reasons behind certain behaviors of people, and not just in other people, but also, most importantly, in your own behaviors. Would you mind, giving us some insight into that?
Of course. So essentially, I grew up in a very rough environment. My parents did not know how to handle their lives, and therefore they just understood about, I'm going to call it corporal punishment. So they just understood that, and more so, my dad just learned that as a technique. So the technique of instilling fear to then create a positive response, like scaring, like threatening. It was basically all about threats. I'm going to do this if you don't do that, if you don't get good grades, etc. So that was very toxic, very, very scary because I was exposed to that at a very, very early age. So yes, when you're 5 years old and the people who you love and trust the most are waving their heavy hand at you and also exposing you to imagery and actual actions that are very unsettling and creating PTSD within the system, you could just imagine how I felt for so many years. And I just went through my life not understanding and truly stumbling through life, just stumbling, wanting to be loved by my friends. And then when friends would fall away, I felt rejected. I didn't understand seasons of relationships. So then I just felt like rejection and desperation throughout my life until I learned about psychology, the study of psychology. I did not even understand what that term was until I got into high school, and we started delving into that. And then I realized, oh, that's learned behavior that my parents picked up. It's a program. And that's the terminology that I used in my daily life and in my practice and with my clients, that it is a program. It is what they learned so that they are now in the program, and they're in the program of, I better threaten her to get her to, move the pendulum. And so when I understood that there is a science behind behaviors and what that does on a cellular level, why was I creating high blood pressure? Why was it making me feel like I didn't even want to get up in the morning? Why did it make me feel like I wanted to hide? What was I hiding from? I already lived with the people who were hurting me, so why was I afraid to step out of my house? So it was psychology in itself that finally opened up the awareness, and with the awareness created change.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, because I know, sorry to kind of open that question up so early on in the conversation, but I think that was, such a big part of your life. And I think when you mentioned that whole thing around psychology, and that started raising your awareness about, like, oh, there's a reason, there's this programming thing that people seem to, we're all programmed. And then did it give you a greater sense of compassion, I guess, towards your parents and towards people who were behaving like this because through their programming?
Oh, absolutely. And so the gift that it provided for me was absolute compassion. And of course, blips of compassion. So I would drop into the awareness of they're just repeating what they learned, and they have not had a moment to question the programming. So therefore they keep on repeating it, and they lived under the understanding of, it worked for me, I'm alive, I go to work, I'm at a 9 to 5, I am a provider, we make money, so to them it didn't seem like there was anything there, it wasn't a faulty system. And so the consciousness or the awareness, or rather the compassion that it brought into my heart was so tremendous that I could actually not discount them and not basically write them off from my life. There was a moment where I did have to do that, and it was more so for my own healing, because I couldn't heal myself by still healing the relationship with them. So I had to heal the relationship with myself first. And then I was able to invite them back into my life. Yes, it caused confusion within them as well. But I then was able to get right with them in terms of creating that healing between me and them after I understood the healing within myself, which continues till this day.
Right. Yes, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? It's constantly healing and evolving and transforming. But that's amazing that you recognized this at such a young age and had that awareness. I'd like to quote your website, because I think it's really beautiful what you said on it. You wrote, "I finally felt the distortion shift around and away from my soul as it began to reveal my true, authentic self." I think that's amazing. That's beautiful. And how did that authentic self reveal itself to you? And at what moment did you recognize that?
So I'm getting emotional right now. And I love to honor my emotions because they want to sit at the table as well. And the emotion that's coming up for me is vulnerable. So what started to the distortion, if we could think of it as dirt. So the dirt just started to, as it shifted away, it started to reveal my vulnerability, to then drop the armor of hardness, to drop the armor of we better hurt people first before they hurt us. So it revealed vulnerability, and it revealed that I'm lovable. All this time, all that time, I felt like I was not lovable. So it revealed that I am lovable. So those two things have been huge for me. And I know that with so many people, not only with my clients, but in general, worldwide, those two things, just to understand that we are vulnerable, and to also truly drop into our hearts with the true recognition, the true embodiment of each and every one of us is lovable.
Yeah. Well, that just gave me such goosebumps. That was really powerful. The whole thing around, vulnerability, and we are lovable and we are loved. At what point did you then realize, Lalaine, that you got a lot of answers from psychology? It tells us so much, right, about action, behaviors, conditioning, programming. Was there a point that actually it wasn't enough? And when did you start then exploring the energetics or the energy in the healing work?
So it started off with a conversation with my husband, who was exposed to a radio show that he would always listen to, and that person on the radio show started talking about positivity and how life will shift when you become more positive. So he said, let's try that. Because again, we came from a similar background. So we thought, yes, let's give it a try. Let's be positive. And what does that mean? Be positive in your outlook, be positive in your behavior, and try really hard to be positive in your thoughts. But that came later. So it was more of like, whatever you're going to say, be positive about it. Whatever anyone is going to say to you, spin it around and, say, well, what is the silver lining? And then positive actions. So probably not a good idea to tell our kids, you won't get to go to Disneyland if you don't finish your homework, right? So don't drop into that. So that was huge. So that was an actual action item. And then that led us to the movie, The Secrets. Do you remember the movie?
Yes, Rhonda Byrne, right?
So yeah, and so from that, the different speakers then just opened up more awareness, more consciousness, and almost like a delivery vehicle for the positivity. Like, okay, well, what's feng shui? What? And just prayer. What does that look like? It's just, does it feel like a one-way street, or is it a real like two-way street? Just, it opened that up. And then, and at the time, and of course, because coming from studying psychology, I started seeing a therapist, and she suggested a book called The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton. And my jaw dropped, and I just felt like, what? You mean we can change? Wait a minute. We could change our belief system? You mean I'm not just going to, like, someone's going to say something negative to me and then I could just spin it around positive? You're saying that I can actually reset my freaking system to not have to spin all the time, to just let everyone be and just say, that is what you believe. I believe something completely different. So that was a huge game changer. And that led me to explore the metaphysical. So I walked into one of these metaphysical stores that had tarot cards and crystals and things of that nature. And in exploring one crystal, it was a smoky quartz. I remember wearing it, and I couldn't wear it. And I just felt like, what the what? And I
Wow.
took it off, and I just, and my soul knew to tell my avatar, my meat suit, and said, hold it up to your hand. So I took, it was my pendulum, and I still have it to this day. And this is exactly what I use in my practice to find blockages and to just navigate answers. So I just held it up to my hand, and it started moving. And I suddenly felt this whoosh, just
Mm.
whoosh. And I almost frightened myself, where I just almost dropped it. And then I put it away, and I thought, oh no, oh no. So I want to go back to when I was very, very young, and I'm going to reference it as age 5, because my awareness started at age 5.
Mm.
Um, because a very hard event happened between my parents, and therefore that is what woke me up from maybe being just blissfully, in my sandbox in a way, like with my tinker toys. It was basically the awareness of negativity, I would say. So at that age, I would hear things when I was by myself, and it just set chills in my body. I could hear breathing, and I thought, oh goodness. And the early exposure to that was through scary movies. So I thought, oh no, there is a demon in my house trying to, take me over. And I just freaked out. And I would feel this presence on my bed, just like like you sitting on your child's bed, just that sensation. And I would
Mm.
feel that, and I would just hear this breathing, and I could hear footsteps, and I could feel this presence, and it freaked me out. So I had that all along my life, and I would run. I would literally run out of the room, or turn on the TV to distort it.
Mm.
So fast forward to when I felt that whoosh when I held the pendulum, I thought, oh no, I'm getting the same chills as,
Right.
when I was, tapping into that. So then that was a game changer for me, because the following days I started doing research about crystals, and then, how can you communicate with pendulums? How can you communicate with the formless? So that then just led me into energy healing. We could just use our hands, just hands over someone to heal. We can use our intentions, just even the power of our hearts, just focusing our heart energy like a flashlight towards someone. It just started opening up so many um, facets in energy healing, stemmed from my awareness of psychology, behaviors, cellular response, etc.
Going back to the point they made about that Bruce Lipton, reading the biology of belief. I mean, such an incredible book, and The Secret. I haven't actually watched the film, but I read The Secret book, the original, back in whenever it was released. I know there's a new book out, another Secret, that's recently come out. Um, but yes, that whole realization that we're not, that part of that our DNA, or that we are not victims of our genes, and that's, we're brought up on the whole Darwinism theory, aren't we? That everything's a competition, that we have to
Yes.
survive the fittest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's such an eye opener, and I kind of feel like every school should be reading this, which every school child should be reading this book, and my children definitely will be. It's on my bookshelf. Um,
Beautiful. And competition
mm,
truly creates the divide.
yeah.
And uh, competition, some people thrive off of competition, and that's healthy. But then when we get into I'm better than you, it just, we're all connected. So Darwin, he knew what he knew. But, the whole competition aspect of life, um, it is just about, let's challenge, let's do better. Let's try to do better now. And, this person who ran, a mile, under 4 seconds or whatever it is, let's try to do it faster, rather than I'm going to dominate and I'm like superior. That when competition gives birth to that, that creates divide, and that then takes away back to our original oneness. We're all in this together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you brought in the whole, the 1 minute mile thing, because actually it also shows, again, the power of what we are capable of, right? Something we couldn't do for years, for a long time. And then suddenly within the first 6 months, I think, however many other people have did it. So you're working a Fortune 100 company for some time. So you're in the corporate world, but you were also running your business, right?
On the side.
And on the side, as like a side business. When did you finally think, right, this is going to be my business. I'm going to leave the corporate world and this is going to be what I do?
2020.
Well, 2020. So yeah. Wow.
The early part of 2020. And it was divine timing when things started shutting down. It gave me, I could feel it now. And basically my guides were saying, look, hand on them, if they could even do that. But their guides are always benevolent beings. But yes, they would go this and say, all right, so what do you want to do? You want to go do that thing that you could do in your sleep, be part of the corporate world and almost lie to yourself. Do you want to continue to hide? Do you want to lie? Do you not want to sort of open up this part of you who is eccentric? So, and what does that mean? I'm just a kaleidoscope of all sorts of different things. And rather than this one person, like, I'm serious, I'm just going to wear, like my pearls with my business suit. And I'm just going to almost have this stance of, whatever that, means to a lot of people. It was more of like, I'm going to tell you. And I almost felt like a robot. So I felt that conversation of, do you want to do what your heart has been telling you all this time? Do you want to do what you have been hiding in terms of, booking conference rooms, not for meetings, but to have a session with, a coworker, etc.? Do you want to finally just actually sing your entire song rather than, ooh, I'm going to do a lyric here, I'm going to do a lyric here and there? Do you want to just go full out and just strum away and play the music and learn more music and learn different instruments? And so I just felt like, okay, let's do it. And I just, went full bore. And here we are.
And we're so glad you did.
Thank you. And when you answer your call, it happens overnight. So a person doesn't necessarily need to have, had the exposure of like, well, I studied this in college, etc. When you're guided and you actually do it and something happens to you overnight, like an overnight success where you feel like, I just launched my website and I had a person call me to even inquire, or I could see that someone visited my website and I knew it wasn't like, my friends and family. This is like now I'm looking at the statistics.
That Google Analytics, yeah,
the analytics. Yeah. You know that you're answering the call. You know that you're divinely guided and that you're on the right path. So the whole programming of, well, you haven't done it long enough. Who are you? Like when you have helped someone like myself, when I've helped people and they have come back and said, that technique has changed my life. That technique has definitely helped things at home. That, just sitting with you, having a conversation, etc., has helped me significantly. And I want to come back and, book another session. I want to spend the day with you, etc. You know that you're answering the call. So I could not deny it. And here's the thing. There was a voice that said, you need to serve the greater than you, the greater than yourself, the greater than your family, the greater than your friends. You need to serve the world, the community that is the world. So I felt like the moments when I would doubt myself, I felt like, no, it's all about sharing. And I'm not going to betray myself, and I'm not going to betray, humanity by me just saying, okay, I'm going to go hide back in an office and have a boss tell me, when I could take a break or how much vacation time I've accrued.
Yes.
I just felt like I'm not going to do that to myself, and I'm not going to do that to humanity. And it really just takes one person, right, to create this ripple effect. And we're doing it all together. You doing what you're doing has created a global ripple effect. So that's what we're doing. We're creating global ripple effects. Yeah. So yeah, just started last year, and I'm saying that with pride because that's how it happens when you answer the call. Boom.
And it can be very exponential in terms of the growth in that time. As soon as you do it, that's, you've had an exponential growth. And, there's a couple of things I want to pick up on that is for the cynics out there, the people who are like, oh, who are quite cynical, maybe might not quite have that same perspective on it. What would you say to them?
Start your business on the side.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, when you feel good doing that, there's the magic. There is the magic. When you feel good to bake cookies on the side, to build a compressor on the side, to, write scripts on the side, whatever, photography on the side. When you're doing that and it makes you feel so good, you know that you're doing the right thing, and simply grow it. Simply, give yourself a schedule of, okay, I'm going to do this. And maybe my vacation, like half of my vacation is going to be dedicated to, the side business. And what does that mean? It could be about learning more. It could mean that you're going to apply what you learned to life now. Like, you learn about photography, now take pictures. Just, take action. So in that, you will then be drawn. You will then feel like, I want to do this all day long. And here's the thing for that cynic. When you're feeling good, don't want to do a spoiler alert, but you're going to be called to do your thing full time, because when you go back to the thing that just isn't feeling very, I'm going to say fireworky, it's not going to feel like, you're going to feel, you're just going to feel like, okay, I now understand that there is a contrast, and I'm honoring, the job that I'm in right now that pays the bills, that, etc. Absolutely honoring it, because it's a blessing, it's a gift, absolutely. But you'll also really feel driven to start to answer the call, and manifestation is going to happen. So people are going to start calling you saying, oh my goodness, I love your pictures. Well, how much what is your rate? And you're going to say, oh my goodness, now I have to come up with a rate. Like, oh, how exciting. So tuning into that higher vibration is absolutely going to take you into your path. So be as cynical as you want, but go ahead and try. Just find that hobby that you love and just keep on doing it. And then soon enough, your hobby will become your main stream of income.
And I wonder how many people in this last year where we haven't, the holidays, we haven't been able to jump on a plane and go on a holiday, right? We haven't been able to take trips abroad. So I don't know what the statistics are, but I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people in the last 12 months who've had that time to be a little bit stiller within themselves, a little bit less distracted, and thinking, oh, what's my hobby? And hopefully there's loads of entrepreneurs out there now, really kind of people finding their passions, what their purpose is, or what they enjoy doing, and finding joy, like you said, and that firework feeling. I love that. Fireworksy, sorry. Um,
Fireworky,
yeah,
whatever that word is.
I love that's your new word, fireworking. You're gonna have to use that. And I think we're all, we've all got our own belief systems, right? We are going back to what we talked about at the beginning, the psychology. We are built on systems of belief systems that are not necessarily our own. We have a lot of money beliefs. Let's not, that's just another rabbit hole to go down, but we all know the money belief systems that go back generations from our families, what we've heard from our parents. And then there's our ancestry DNA, right? We've got so much stuff within our coding, which isn't even our own. So I think what Lalaine and I want to say to everyone is just explore what those beliefs that you have are. And, it's not going to be, necessarily the most comfortable thing to do, but explore it and go into the shadows as well and find out why you're feeling the way you're feeling about, the cynical side of yourself. So congratulations. So 2020, that's when you converted the side business as a full-time business. And I know I've been following you on Facebook and Instagram, and I know you've been doing some amazing work. So your business has completely grown exponentially over the last 12 months. What are the most exciting technologies that you have been working with?
So I have been working with a technology of clearing energy blocks. And I've been doing this for quite a while, beyond just last year. And just learning that we hold on to emotions that affect the performance of our organs. Like there's so much research in that. And essentially, the way I find people's emotional blocks, and when I talk about emotional blocks, these are the things, I'm going to call it the dirt on our windshield. So these are the things that create the film on our windshield, and we're barely able to look, in front of us. We're barely able to see any type of even, great love or even danger. So we, through time, we're all sponges. We have pores, and so everything is energy. Emotions are energetic, and more so they're magnetic. And throughout our lives, when we experience trauma, the body starts to pick up on things that we can't quite address at that very moment. So what happens is more often than not, when we experience a traumatic event, we will experience it, and then the body immediately will say, we can't deal with it right now on the grand scale. We can't talk to these emotions right now. So we're in fight or flight. We just need to get healthy. So let's just breathe, and not even breathe. Let's just ignore it and walk away. So what happens is, over time, those create distortions all over your body that, maybe you have recurring stomach pains, maybe you have recurring sore throat, things of that nature. And so in my work, I realized, through so much scientific proof out there, that we can remove these energy blocks. And there are different techniques of removing it. And again, emotions are energy. So I use my pendulum to, again, get into the divine communication to help me understand where are you holding on to this energy, and what is this energy, and even more so, where did you get this energy? Is it from your own experience? Is it from your environment? And we could even ask questions like, when did it happen? Was it between age 0 to 10, between 11 to 20? And then just the recognition of that emotion that then creates the memory recall for each client. They'll say, yes, I remember I had that unsettling moment. I had trauma from that time. I thought that I healed from it, but now I still feel it in my body. And just that awareness alone is plenty. But then we bring in magnetic therapy, and essentially Magnets emotions are magnets, and therefore we can just pull out these emotions from our bodies. And what I do is there's a technique where you take a magnet, a very, very strong magnet, and you swipe it across the governing meridian. And the governing meridian right here is basically, think of it as the all access point to our entire acupuncture system. So it's accessing your energy, it's accessing the chi. And when you are aware of those emotions, it's like your body, it's like, why do we just naturally cough? Why do we naturally sneeze? Your body is ready to let go of things. Your body is constantly trying to calibrate a peaceful environment. So when we explore and find those energy blocks, it is ready to go, so that the energy then surfaces ready to be plucked, because this is just such a powerful access point that you can run the magnet in awareness of, I'm letting go of unworthiness. And you, with your intention of gone, just the words, there's sacredness in words, there's sacredness of your voice, sacredness of you just saying and acknowledging. When you say, unworthiness is gone, unworthiness is gone, and feeling the magnetic pull, my clients will say, I feel a little dizzy, or they'll feel like I feel something pulling. It's that emotional removal through the magnet. And then the next step that I use is tuning fork. So, and I'll show you essentially what I use, and it is just this. And the tuning fork is powerful. It's basically basic. We're going back to basic sound. So when you hear a certain sound, it's either going to make you feel cringy, or like chalk, scratching the chalkboard with your nails, it's going to make you feel ugh. But then if you hear something like a harp, you just feel like, whoa, I feel so zen right now. So I use that to essentially clear and calibrate your system through sound therapy. And I could do it through music, sure, but my choice of music isn't everyone's choice of music. So just even hitting this, and there are different frequencies, and this frequency is 528. And basically they say that this is the frequency of love, the frequency of our DNA.
And DNA, I was going to say, yes, it is. That is, I love all this. I mean, the sound, this whole set area around sound therapy. I'm so glad you brought out the tuning fork. I'm like, what do you call it? Like a kid in a candy shop, as you guys would say, as you say. So yes, I would love to hear I mean, sound is so powerful, right? It's such a healing. It is the healing.
Yeah. Yes. So this is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I just whirl it around, and we're still engaged with gone, gone. And you could just feel just this wave of energy. And, you could just even feel that in your body right now. It just feels like a nice, like, ooh. And then I bring in my crystals. And so Selenite Crystal. And this is a clearing crystal. And in my meditation, I essentially was gifted this awareness to use to add this to my healing practice. And this alone is clearing. But when you add your own intention from the heart to help people shift, and you even use the action of your body, that in itself is technology. That is clearing.
Sorry, and those who might not be that familiar with selenite, what is it so special about selenite that makes it?
It has a property of clearing. So there are ones that different crystals are good for meditating. They're good for, like, the rose is good for love. So if you just even hold on to a rose quartz, you could just, and even up to your heart, you could feel the amplification of love. You could feel the amplification of someone loving you back. And, that is the omnipresence, just loving you. There are crystals that there are power crystals that will make you feel more driven. So selenite in itself is, and look at the color, it's white. So it just automatically makes you feel like, yes, absolutely, it is heavenly.
And the color of your aura, as we would say,
Exactly.
Kundalini yoga, right? White is the color of the aura, or the eighth chakra, which is the aura. But thank you. I mean, going back to the tuning fork, I think there's this thing around sound. I mean, I think it was Pythagoras, right, who said a long time ago. I'm not going to even say, pretend to know what year I thought he was, he was around in. But I'm sure it was Pythagoras who said that actually all sound is healing, and it's going to be, the biggest, the healing therapy. It's such a healing therapy, and that was a long time ago. And we're only finding out now. I think it was a Schumann, not theory, but the Schumann something where remember when the cosmonauts and the astronauts first went into space, they'd go out there and they'd be like, oh, totally disorientated and out of balance, and then they were like, oh, what's going on? And they realized that the Earth's frequency,
the resonant,
yeah, so they had to then they got the Schumann resonance, which was then put into their suits, right? And I think that was at 7.53. I don't know what the frequency is. It's 7.53. I probably just said it completely wrong. Apologies if I've just said the wrong thing. But it's incredible, and they no longer, they don't have that imbalance anymore, nausea, all that stuff they used to feel.
Right. Yes, and there are people who have captured that Schumann resonance and they put it into meditation. So I encourage viewers to look that up and to just experience that. That is just absolutely zen.
Yes, pure and juicy, yummy zen.
Absolutely, very peaceful.
And what other technologies have been coming up most recently for you?
So the latest trend has been healing through plant therapy. And so people have been using cannabis now that it is legalized in most of the states, if not, the world. And now there's more research regarding the next type of plant, which is fungus. So psilocybin. I came upon psilocybin in my early heyday of, everything really happens when we're unleashed in our 20s.
Yep.
And so, would go to concerts and consume mushrooms and just have a great time. And then it was introduced to me again, most recently. And I just thought, wow, this just took away fear. It took away worry, and actually more so worry. So just being out and about and just feeling way more connected to the sun and looking at the sun saying, like, you're shining for me. I mean, it sounds so amazing, but that is the awareness that you receive. You just feel like,
and the gratitude.
Yes, that is absolutely it. It's the gratitude of the sky. You mean the sky has been looking like this all this time, and I've been walking around, talking to myself poorly, and all this wild, this beauty. So all of that happened, and that was just transformational. And I just started doing a lot of research, and I came upon understanding what a macrodose is when you consume, and they call it 3 grams, more than 3 grams. And I don't know what that would be, translated in the metric system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But basically it would be 3 grams and then a micro. So then it would be a tenth of that and even smaller, and understanding the benefits. And so because it's not legalized in my county, of course, partaking in that in counties like Oakland, it was easier. And I am a lifelong learner. So I want to try so many different things. And I've come across ayahuasca in terms of awareness. And I just felt like, okay, it just seemed at the time, it just seemed like it wasn't, I was looking for someone, or, I was looking to, okay, could I experience it here legally? No, then I have to fly somewhere, and can I do it? It just seemed more complicated. And I honor and understand the sacrament of cannabis. So then understanding the sacrament of psilocybin mushrooms, it just felt like a gradual understanding. And so doing the research and actually experiencing a macrodose, going on what they call a journey, has been absolutely life-changing. Life-changing in the sense that, they're showing so much evidence of it creates neuroplasticity, it creates neurogenesis. They're using it for different addictions. They're using it for depression. Johns Hopkins University, please, for your viewers, research that. And from that, you'll just see so much beautiful evidence. Veterans, with PTSD, they're showing all these benefits. And so for me, all this time, I have been absolutely working on my own healing every day. Things happen, and, we're just healing. We even cut ourselves, right? Like we're cutting a tomato, and then we cut ourselves. So then I'm healing. So we're going to be sort of perpetually healing. And when the psilocybin came across my field, my understanding, I know that it was divinely guided. I know that my guides were, lining up everything for me. When I took that journey, and I've taken several journeys, every time I have come out of those sessions, I have come out with a greater, deeper understanding of all of the players, all of the cast of characters that I have experienced on a negative level. And I was able to understand, and it was almost like a replay. Like our guides, were replaying everything and saying, so you understand why your dad did this, why your mom did this, why the old coworker, why your old friend, why your husband, why your kids, why even you. So it gave me this intelligence that I would have gained maybe another year, maybe another 5, maybe another 10 of actively just dropping in and dropping in and dropping in. This truly has been a fast track for me. So the journey has just made me feel like just deep gratitude, deep compassion, and it absolutely has increased my gifts. So I could feel, hear, sense, smell the formless easier, and it has taken away that fear where I have seen shadows, and I don't look at it as, oh no, stage it away. I'll just say, safe travels. I hope that you find what you need to find. Our house is of light and love, so you may stay if you are that. Just to have that dialogue, whereas before, oh no, I wouldn't be able to. I would just try to, shaking. Okay, so just the plant medicine alone has helped. And then now we go into microdosing. The beautiful benefit of microdosing is exactly what the journey is all about, but it's doing it for you on a daily basis in terms of like a supplement, right? So we're using this now as a nootropic, and people are saying that psilocybin is the new nootropic. However, we know that this is an ancient technology, and we also know that we have the receptors to receive what fungus, what the psilocybin delivers. We have the receptors to receive the cannabis. So we were designed for plant therapy. We were designed for meditation. We have that technology. And when we become one with it, we then become, I want to say, superhuman, in the sense that we all are superhuman. All of the distortion that tells you you can't do this, you can't do that, that's all a lie. So what psilocybin has done for me is that it has washed away the fear and the worry, and it doesn't make those things go away in the sense of like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine with someone like, hurting me or something. It just brings so much more, like it does not create the PTSD of, oh no, I don't want to even see that person because that person's just gonna go, like yell at me. It makes me feel like, you know what, when I go back to see, and if I happen to see that person again, I'm gonna have a conversation with them. And I'm not gonna have a conversation with them to make them understand my point. It's just more of like, hello, how are you? So I'm still addressing the wounds, the trauma, but without the freaking distortion of the fear that won't even allow me to have the bravery to have this heartfelt connection to pursue what that is all about. What is this, procrastination? What is that? Or, ooh, I felt this like, I felt that, when that person showed up and, made a gesture. Ooh, what is that? What is that? What is that?
It's almost like removing the ego from the situation and having that higher perspective. It's removing ourselves from being not the observer, but the subject, I guess, the object, and then we're placing ourselves at that the observer, not the observer. What's the other level? The observing.
Right.
The observing.
The observee.
The observee. So, and going back to what you were talking about earlier, when we were saying that it's like with the filters that we've got on our the windscreen analogy you used, the metaphor was having the dirt on it. And we accumulate a lot of dirt, don't we, when I'm thinking about my glasses as well, and it distorts, like you were saying, it distorts that view that we have. Our perceptions are distorted. And what I'm taking from what you've just said is it's just reminding me of that it's a William Blake quote. Aldous Huxley wrote the book called The Doors of Perception, but William Blake wrote in, can't remember what poem, but if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything will appear as it is, infinite. And that is exactly what I would, I feel that it takes away those programmings and perceptions and the dirt away from it and just all clear.
Absolutely. And it essentially dethrones the ego. And what does that mean? Think of the dethroning. So all this time, the ego has either inflated my awareness of like, yeah, you're everyone in this room, you don't have what I have. I'm the best. It dethroned that. And then also the ego that says, we don't like to fail. So we're not going to even try.
Yep.
So that is what I mean by the dethroning of the ego. So it creates your heart. I mean, basically it doesn't create the heart. It just, it washes away the distortion to then reveal your heart. And your heart is everything. Your heart is compassion. Your heart is brave. Your heart is proactive, and your heart is emotional. So I'm no longer afraid to then go to the deepest of the deep, to feel the deepest of that. I'm not afraid of that. I know that there is something that I need to address, that I need to navigate through, and I won't get lost. And that's the whole thing. I won't get lost in the muckety muck, if you will. I won't get lost in the darkness. I know that I'm tethered. And what am I tethered to? I'm tethered to my heart. So psilocybin for me has been massive, massive. And it has absolutely created a wave-like effect for my kids. They just say, I could see that you're more peaceful. I could see, and I have been working on myself, absolutely using my own modalities, 100%, of course. But they just said, this has been like, that has just supercharged everything in terms of my love. So why would I not continue with this natural supplement? Is it a medicine? It's more of a supplement. It's more of a technology, and it's a sacrament. So we're not gobbling it up to make things go away.
Right. Yes.
And we're not disrespecting it. We're honoring it. And we're, like when we're taking it, we're just feeling so grateful, so thankful. And it creates absolute oneness. Absolute oneness. So when people will ask me, when you come out of a journey, that must be great for you. And I would say it feels great for me, but I absolutely am way more aware of loving on the planet. Loving on the planet. Before, it used to be, being more aware of myself, my family, my friends, but the psilocybin just makes you feel like everyone, let's book a journey together, let's get a helicopter and just sort of like, plume the air with lovely psilocybin all over the place.
Brilliant. I'm going to share a story with you because it's not one I've shared before, if you don't mind. Oh my goodness. My parents are watching. I'm sorry. Except I'm not really, things happen when you're younger. We just talked about our, university years. There are a lot of magic mushrooms growing in Wales, and we were,
Wow.
walking the fields, and, again, we weren't destroying all habitats, or it's all sustainable, resources, and we might have happened to come across some mushrooms at some point during my days, in Wales. And so, yes, I experienced mushrooms, magic mushrooms, in the tea form. We were, walking fields, and there were animals around, and, cows and squirrels, a lot of squirrels, and birds. We have lots of robins. And I remember just feeling this absolute and utter love. It was just looking at the animals going, look at these animals. Aren't they beautiful? The eyes of the cows, how beautiful their eyelashes. And honestly, I felt the cows were looking at me like, we know you're not being human right now. You're not being fully human. We sense, and they were all coming towards me. I remember, I felt like Snow White with the birds, with the animals. It was this incredible oneness with nature. And that feeling, being in the fields of near woods and with those animals was absolutely incredible. And I just felt this real connection to nature that I'd never felt before. And I remember later on in the day, I remember feeling quite sad because I felt that I'd lost that connection, that connection had gone because it was so intense at the time. And I remember thinking, wow, that was such a incredible connection I had, and that feeling of love and oneness. And then I had another experience, and it wasn't so great because the people I was with just wanted to like watch silly things on TV. That was funny, and it was just, I was like, I don't want to be with people. I don't want to hang out with you in that sense. It was more like, I want to experience nature and be in that, that that sense of oneness again. I think that's what I wanted to kind of relive again. So yes, I've shared that, and I've never shared that with before. Now I've just shared it on my YouTube channel. So
Thank you for sharing
oh,
that. And two things, I think that you did more than a micro.
yes,
So
I probably did.
You probably did, and people either consume the mushrooms either in raw form, or they'll put it in tea, and then they'll just boil that and consume it that way. So the imagery, or rather what you were experiencing, was more of a macro experience. When we think about it, the animals see us. They're not, this whole thing of like, we are superior over the animals, yet we ask animals to help us out, like elephants, things of that nature. So what you were experiencing was you were experiencing life without the veils of distortion, the veils of, I am a human and I'm superior, and you're never looking at me. I'm always looking at you. Animals are looking at us, and they are also observing us. And the whole Snow White analogy, I totally understand that. You feel there's a greater sense of of awareness, and everything is beautiful. And so the greater sense of awareness when you are not in the right setting, yes, there's an amplification. So when people go through their journey, it is often recommended, or rather, it is, I would say, it is only recommended that you create set and setting. And that is sort of like a lingo in, with a psilocybin therapist who will say it's all about set and setting, and it's about your mindset. So are we crying and going through like the word, like a feeling of depression, or just even like you feel like you're just in a moment of anger and then you're going to gobble up mushrooms? No, that's not the right mindset. You want to walk into it as, let's do some research, and we understand that it is a sacrament and it is from the earth. So that is a healthy mindset. And then setting. Do you want to go to a place that may not have the most positive people in the room? And are they watching war movies? Probably not a good idea to be in that room when you're on psilocybin, because again, it heightens your awareness. So when I have come out of a journey, and even till this day, because the layover effect of a journey, research is showing that you do one journey, it lasts up to 6 months. So come on, everybody. That's incredible benefit. So I can feel when just even images on the news, just looking at that, I just feel like, oh, that is not good. I want to know what's going on, but just that imagery alone is just, why are they even showing that imagery? Do we really need to see the imagery of like bombings? Do we need to see that? Some people do, to sort of awaken them. But for me, I'm just so sensitive to energy, more so than ever, that, for your experience, you were in nature. Great environment. So you were feeling Snow White, like the birds are coming to me. And yes, because you are creating that law of attraction. You were pure heart without the veil of distortion. So then animals, they are driven by their instinct. So then they're like, oh, she's safe. She's not going to shoot us or eat us or swat at us. So yeah, let me cruise on by her and just hang out with her. And then when you were in that, environment that you said that wasn't just not so great, right there, it shows you that you're just heightened to that, I'm going to call it a negative frequency.
Yeah. I mean, I think it felt like felt more negative, but it's interesting. How you describe it is more of a personal development acceleration tool or technology.
Yes.
And I know in Silicon Valley there's been a real surge and trend. I mean, it used to be a trend in the 1950s and 60s, right? Engineers used to use LSD as well as psilocybin to create to have visions of new ideas, right? So they were using, and it seems to be coming back into kind of a trend again, I think, in Silicon Valley, for people to kind of be creative and productive. But I think in terms of, which I think is going to, maybe that's the way the news has sort of interpreted it, and that's another thing. The media is interpreting it as a slightly more what's the word I'm looking for? Not negative, but a more I can't think of the word. Anyway, I'll come back to that. But there's this personal development tool that hasn't really been explored, I don't think. Or I did read it as microdosing. They go microdosing in the redwoods in California. Is that California?
Yes, the redwoods are in California. That would be a beautiful place to have a journey.
Oh, wouldn't it? Yes. I mean, what a beautiful place. And I've also noted here, so Steve Jobs apparently used to dabble a lot in psychedelics, let's call them, and he also had a bit of a dig at his mate Bill Gates, saying he should try some to make his ideas a bit better, which I thought was quite hilarious.
It's so true. It creates so much. It's a creator.
Mm.
So it's just creating so much more of that love frequency. So finances, it absolutely starts to take away your worries so that you can attract the income that you want to experience.
Mm.
It's going to take away the fear of trying a new hobby, or even for those people who are afraid to date, or for those people who are afraid to go outside, because of what's going on today in our society. So that's just taking away things, but it doesn't create I'm going to call it like a distorted look on life, in the sense of, are you going to say, oh, okay, I just ate, a macro dose of mushrooms, and now I'm going to walk across the freeway. It does not do that. 100%. It does not. So
Yes.
it doesn't give you, it goes back to the dethroning, right? It's not a drug. It's not created in, a pharmaceutical setting. It's, like you said, it was just growing naturally in your environment at college, and you could just pluck it and then just eat it.
Yeah. I mean, actually, in some parts of
So
campuses, you could see it growing actually in the field of campuses. You're like, oh, and then they would kind of remove everything rather quickly. So students wouldn't be going to lectures completely, woo, obviously thinking they're having small doses, but clearly a macro dose, because students, have no idea what the limits are. But that's super interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's a really, really interesting topic that we haven't had on like conversations. So, Lalaine, what is next for you? So you've had this incredible year, right? It's been exponential. What a journey, and you're still on this journey. And what's next?
So essentially, I am continuing to create content for people to understand that healing is for everyone, that you can heal, and that you can heal yourself. And what do I mean by that? That yes, through different modalities, we need teachers, we need mentors, but they're just inspiring you. And you are the one who will be doing the actual action, whether it be meditating or doing yoga or weightlifting, jogging, writing, journaling. You're the one who's doing it. The practitioner. I am not healing you. You saying, yes, I want to be healed. Yes, I also, I am trusting you to help me through this process. You are healing yourself in accepting that you are your own healer. So this is why there are skeptics out there. There are cynics who will not, want to sign up to do a course with me or with you, or to go to a seminar of meditation, because they're not open to it. So they want to heal, maybe they just feel like, I'm just going to be this way. I'm just going to, this is how it is. This, I'm okay with it. And just, you could even feel sort of like people kind of submitting to the what is, when we can absolutely develop a higher vibration of the what is. So my whole vision for myself and for my company is to continue to create awareness within each and every one, and to absolutely help everyone understand that your own heart is its own technology within you. And that is the greatest healer, healing teacher that you have, that goes everywhere with you. And it's
Yes, and we all have one, hopefully. What are you imagining or visualizing in this next chapter? How will it look like? What would it look like?
so I am campaigning. And I'm creating this campaign of heart awareness, heart consciousness, talking with your heart, understanding that your heart is your own intuition, your own guide, your own psychic, your own medium, your own concierge, and then also creating awareness of plant medicine to truly honor and respect plant therapy such as cannabis and psilocybin, and more so with psilocybin, because that technology alone has been so monumental and so effective and so impactful for me and for those who I know have began their own microdose. They've sourced it on their own, and they are experiencing great benefits. So just creating more of an awareness has absolutely been one of the two passions for me for the next chapter, whether it be the next year or the next many years. I'm just sitting in that, and that's my vision for people to understand that they don't necessarily need to partake in excessive amounts of wine. And I had to say excessive amounts because I'm not saying don't drink wine, but being excessive with your wine, going to a doctor and saying, I need some antidepressants, and then not understanding that those have side effects. What are the side effects of mushrooms? What are the side effects of cannabis? These are plant medicines, and just going back to the mushrooms, it has a lower toxicity rate than a glass of wine. So that in itself is amazing. So just bringing awareness worldwide regarding your heart and plants, that is exactly my vision. I'm campaigning for that.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's all about love.
Yes, hearts and plants. Love it. Beautiful.
Yes.
Really beautiful. And what advice would you give to parents listening to this?
I would say to them to, number one, forgive yourself. Just to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for yesterday. Forgive yourself from 10 years ago. Forgive yourself, whatever that is. Forgive yourself. I drank coffee this morning and I said that I wasn't going to, or whatever it is. And forgiveness means to not be okay with the actual behavior, but to let go of the energy that you have towards the behavior. So forgiveness, letting go. Those are the things that I would like to offer parents, because you cannot move forward if you're stuck in replaying the past and then taking the past and then applying it, and basically taking the past and then dirtying, creating distortion on your windshield and going circa 19th, whatever, let's take that and just like pop it onto my windshield. And then now let me look at the lens of like a year ago. Yeah. So forgiveness is absolutely key. And when you let go, then you're able to vibrate even higher, because you don't have that energetic connection of hurting yourself, of harming yourself again and again and again. So that is absolutely important, because when you do that, it will reveal your love for yourself and for your family even more so.
Beautiful. Thank you. I think that's beautiful. Forgiveness and letting go. Perfect. And what piece of homework would you give to viewers? I don't know if you have any piece of homework that you would like to give on I know put you on the spot a bit. I mean, for example, with clients, we do journaling, and I help them channel that journaling into automatic writing to tap into their inner voice. What piece of homework would you like to give our listeners today?
To get heart coherent, well, here's the challenge. Get heart coherent every hour on the hour for the next 3 months. That sounds big, but when you're looking at a benefit to you as a chore, you're looking at it the wrong way. For the ladies who get their nails done, they don't go to the salon and say, I have to get my nails done. Or for the gentlemen who go to the barber, to get their hair done, they don't really feel like, they feel like, well, you know what? My hair is growing out. It's not retaining the, the sleek look that I want. So I need to go. It's not really a chore. So to get connected with your heart every hour on the hour, and I mean, when you wake up, get Heart Coherent, then set a timer for it to go off an hour later. And you could get Heart Coherent in the car. You could get Heart Coherent even in a conversation. I have been practicing Heart Coherence as we've been on this video. And Heart Coherence, the end result is truly feeling an elevated feeling, an emotion, and feeling like you're breathing from your heart and slowing down the breath. So when we're slowing down the breath, it automatically sends a signal to the nervous system that we are peace. It is taking you out of that dinosaur feeling of, oh no, like a dinosaur is going to come to me, like fight or flight. It's going to click you out of that, and it's just going to say, everything is fine. Everything is safe. We're good. So we enter in through that slow breath pattern. We're imagining breathing from the heart. We're feeling an elevated feeling of just think of like the delicious coffee you just had, like, oh, that feels so, and just even think of how did it feel when it was in my stomach, or even when my child hugged me, like, ooh, or just even a smell, smelling your favorite perfume, essential oil for the gentleman, cologne, whatever it is. Just activating that. And that is so simple. When you practice it as often as I'm asking you to do, then you could get Heart Coherent faster. It won't take you like how many rounds of breath work, how many, your imagination. Oh, I want to imagine the worst case. No, I can't imagine someone who I care about. When you keep on practicing it, it's like muscle memory. When you keep on practicing that, then whatever that day is, the 10th day, the 20th day, you'll just be like, I'm in a busy restaurant, and I'm going to get Heart Coherent right now. Boom, done. So doing that,
it's like doing your pelvic floor muscles, right?
Yeah. So that is my challenge to everyone, to do that, and to send comments. Send me an email. Send Tuğçe an email about your experience after even month 1, when you've really done it, when you have accomplished doing this every hour on the hour, even just one day, we could freaking do it. How many times do we look at our phone? Way more often than once every hour. So we could slow down the breath one time every hour on the hour. And what I'm tricking you into doing is to create peace for yourself and to create peace for your environment and your loved ones.
Love it. And you can even do it after watching this and post it in the comments and on the Facebook page, the YouTube page, wherever you find this. Just let us know. Let us know. And you'll be showing us how to step into heart coherence. Is that
Absolutely.
Should we do that now before we go into where we can before we wrap up, and where we can find you?
Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead and begin with closing our eyes. And it's easier to breathe the way I want you to breathe if you just sit up. So just connect with the stillness and listen to my voice. And we're going to enter in this state through the breath. And I want you to inhale through the nose, and I'm going to call it for 5 seconds. And we're going to exhale through the mouth for about 7. When we lengthen the exhale compared to the inhale, it creates more peace in your system. It calms the vagus nerve in the nervous system. And then I will cue you into imagining breathing from your heart, and then imagining, or rather feeling, that elevated feeling. So this is the way you enter, and I'm going to talk about how you could do this quickly after we do it. All right, so let us begin. Inhale through the nose. And out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. And out the mouth, like you're fogging up a mirror. Inhale through the nose to feel the cool air. And out the mouth, fog up that mirror. Again, inhale through the nose. And out the mouth. Eyes remaining closed. Place both of your hands over the center of your chest and breathe at your own pace, but mindfully. Breathe mindfully. And what does that mean? It means that you're absolutely going to breathe slowly. And now tune in to the rise and fall of your chest with every breath. And just simply notice your body. And now connect with your heart. And connecting with your heart can simply mean imagine the picture of your heart. Whatever is coming up for you, just go with it. So maybe imagine the emoji of your heart. Maybe it's the medical picture of your heart. Simply connect and imagine your heart. And from this space, imagine breathing from your heart. And what would that feel like? And perhaps we need a little help with our imagination. So let's imagine a heart, a nose on your heart. Or maybe a vent on your heart. The key here is to imagine with every breath, you're feeling it from your heart. You're imagining it from your heart. And it's easier that you have your hands placed over your heart chakra. Take a nice inhale through the nose here. And out the mouth, continuing to feel the peace in your system. And now just breathe at your own pace. Imagining breathing from your heart. And now it's time to connect to an elevated feeling of care, compassion, and love. And so we need some cues here. So go ahead and imagine someone who you deeply care for. Someone you feel compassion for. Someone you feel love for. As you are mindfully imagining breathing from the heart. Go ahead and call up a picture of that person who even just creates that smile within your body, the smile upon your face, and just feel that emotion in your body. Take a nice slow inhale here through the nose. And a nice slow exhale through the mouth. Imagining breathing from the heart and feeling that elevated emotion that causes you to smile right now. Take a nice last inhale here through the nose and out the mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
How did you do?
I could feel myself when I was imagining. I actually had two visions, my son and my daughter. Just when they were my son, when he was a baby, had the most infectious laugh, giggle. It was so cute, and he was giggling. And then my daughter was. There was an image actually of memory that came up on Facebook today of her toddling at 12 months old towards me and going wanting a hug, and I was like, oh, they both melt my heart. So I could just see, I knew I was smiling when I was doing that. That was, yeah, really beautiful. So that definitely elevated my emotions.
So thank you. So quickly, the way we would walk through this. So when you practice that,
Yeah.
you'll become faster. So start your breath work, and just the breath work alone and placing your hand over your heart is absolutely helpful, just to connect, like, okay, it's my heart coherence time. And even when I used to do this in meetings, I would just pretend to scratch rather than sitting there when everyone, is in a board meeting and I'm standing, sitting there. I would just do this, or just, play with my necklace, and I would just get heart coherent because my timer would go off. So practicing that breath and the imagery and the feeling, all of that is literally, it just takes 3 breaths. Just the three rounds of that. The slow inhale through the nose, the slow exhale through the mouth, with the feeling of breathing. So you'll practice makes perfect. So just even breathe right now and imagine breathing from your heart. Just even looking at me. And recall that feeling that you just had. It's fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
And you could do this every hour on the hour.
and
It has a
sure we all go
it
make
has a
cups of
lay
tea, don't
it has
we?
a layer. Yes, it has a layover effect. It has, just like the psilocybin, it has a layover effect. So the journey, one journey has, the evidence is a 6-month carryover effect. The microdosing, on a small level, you're taking it daily. So yes, you're creating that layover effect, that neuroplasticity. Heart coherence every hour on the hour. And then, when you're done with that, you could do it, once a day, 3 times a day. However, when you're just walking, you suddenly feel like, oh, I want to get heart coherent right now. You're creating that layover effect to the next time you do heart coherence. So you want to build the momentum. Everything in life is about momentum, right? And so that's what programming is. And that, we're coming full circle of coming out of that programming. Have you been practicing negative thoughts? Have you been practicing, going to a job that just is not feeling great? So your body is submitting to that lower frequency, and you're practicing that every day. And then the moment when I say, how about you creating the side business, your body feels like, oh no, I don't want to do that. It's only because you haven't practiced that. It's like going to the gym for the first time, like, I need a buddy to go with me. Okay, if you come with me, we're going to set it up so that you are going to succeed. So creating the momentum is absolutely the key to life.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Truly.
Thank you so much for that. I think that's amazing. And yeah, everyone's got time. We make cups of teas and coffees in the day. You could be standing by the kettle and step into your heart. This is a meditation at the end of this. Is something, people who think you can't meditate, you can do this. This only takes you a short amount of time. And like you said, how many times a day do we look at our phones? Stop looking at the phone so much and, create a more positive neural pathway for yourself, right? This is opening up your frontal brain, getting out of the limbic system into the front, which is where
Mhm.
possibilities and opportunities, and that's how we start seeing the world in such a beautiful light, isn't it? So, Lalaine, where can people find you? I've got
So you
your,
could go to my website,
yep,
pendulumlightworks.com.
yep.
You could find me on Facebook under Pendulum Lightworks, as well as my name, Lalaine Moreira, and I'm sure Tucci will share the spelling of my name.
I will have all the links on the posts as well.
Yes,
So the YouTube
yes.
post and this post. I'll put your Facebook, Lalaine, your first, your full name on, and your Pendulum Lightworks,
Thank you. And then
and
on
Instagram.
Instagram,
Mm.
Instagram as well. And so I am doing weekly shows. I'm part of the Awoken TV family, which is, a spiritual version of Netflix. So I'm doing lives for that, and I am part of events like the one that we both are going to partake in, and we're just so excited about Divine Flow Expo.
Yes.
So excited about that.
That is
And
super
then,
cool.
and I do lives for the Soulful Living Tribe, for Michelle. I'm basically, producing content, and it's not more so like producing content. It's just about getting on live with people and doing recordings to share with people, to let everyone know that even people like ourselves absolutely have challenging moments. Absolutely. And sometimes we are going to react in not the best way, but the tools that we have shared with everyone, they absolutely work. And so it's just about lifting up the tool and not sitting in that conundrum, but actually taking that tool, whether it be the breath, the pen, to write. It's all about tools. So I'm always, wanting to share with everyone that there are tools to your own healing. And that's what it's about. To then create celebration within your heart, because that is truly, I'm going to call it the finish line, the
Mm.
celebration, the fireworks.
Yeah. Fireworksy. Oh my goodness, this has been such fun. Honestly, it's been such a fun, lovely, brilliant conversation. Thank you so much, Lalaine,
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, mwah.